Honorable Philip Sheko, and seconded by the Kogi State Party Chairman, Honorable Abdullahi Bello. Mr. Issa Onilo replaced former National Security Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi, who is also from Kwara State, with the now substantive National Publicity Secretary. Governor's Wives Forum has called on the relevant authorities to ensure speedy dispensation of justice in order to checkmate the insistent cases of rapes and other forms of abuse of women and children in Nigeria. This is contained in a 7-point communique jointly signed by the chairperson of the Northern Governor's Wives Forum and wife of Niger State Governor, Dr. Amina Sani Bello, and her counterpart of the Southern Governor's Wives Forum, the Edo State Governor's wife, Betsy Obaseki. The communique stressed the need for parents, victims, traditional and religious leaders to break the culture of silence and stigmatization, which prevents rape victims from getting justice. The communique is a collective decision in response to the call by the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, who advocates massive involvement of all towards attacking the challenge of sexual abuse and molestation. More Libya returnees arrive Lagos. Let's now join Jennifer in Lagos for details. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jumai, and welcome to Lagos. The 75th batch of stranded Nigerians have voluntarily returned from their unfortunate sojourn in Libya into the waiting arms of the International Organization for Migration. Their documentation, which lasted into the early hours of Friday, was supervised by the National Emergency Management Agency. Diana Ajale reports.
That was the arrival of returnees from Libya, totaling 171 at the Muritala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. They comprised 61 males, 98 females, and a number of children and babies. Their profiling was handled by the officials of NEMA and other related agencies. The public relations officer of NEMA, Ibrahim Fariloye, advised the returnees to key into the ongoing federal and state government skill acquisition program in order to better integrate into the society.
You can see drastic reduction in the number of people coming back, and this is based on the effort of the federal government with its international partners.
A 35-year-old Janet Ogenero, an integer of Delta State, and Jamil Abubakar, 27 from Kano State, like other returnees, shared their sad experiences with NTA News.
Black, they will say slave. They treated me slave multiple times.
So I don't have a job. So my mom now said I should move. I should go to Libya.
Don't go. I'm talking to my people. Don't go Libya because of no good.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, appealed to Nigerians, especially ladies, to be careful of dubious means through which people are lured into non-existent so-called lucrative jobs abroad. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
The Police Force Microfinance Bank PLC closed the 2018 financial year with 8% increase in gross earning, 10% increase in total assets, while customers' deposits slightly improved from 9.1 billion in 2017 to 10.4 billion in 2018. The stakeholders were told of the success recorded by the bank at its 25th annual general meeting. Ifoma Ahoje reports.
The 25th Annual General Meeting of Nigeria Police Force Microfinance Bank PLC witnessed the presentation of financial statements and reports for the period ended December 31, 2018.
I became chairman in 2016, and we have grown the bank from 13 branches that we had before to 35 branches. Between now and the end of the year, we are even expecting to do far better than we have done in the half year.
Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NPF Microfinance Bank, Akinwumi Lawal, is optimistic that the strategies and programs to fortify the banking system will yield positive results in the present financial year.
Then that the bank is already looking up again in 2019, and then so invariably we assure them of high dividend payment in subsequent years, bringing up on board to improve our services to our customer.
The NPF Microfinance Bank AGM featured the re-election of retiring directors Mohammed Said, Azubuko Uda, and Jubrin Gen. Members of the audit committee were also elected. Some shareholders expressed satisfaction with the performance of the board, management and staff of the company.
By the next coming year, we are going to move better than what we have this year dividend. So the company is one of the best microfinance bank in Nigeria.
Their performance is always impressive to people, and even the customers too are very happy.
The NPF Microfinance Bank has proposed a dividend of 5 kobo per share, and the board is inviting interested members of the public to invest in the company. In Uyo, Ifoma Ihoje, NTA News.
And for more on business news, let's join Abolade Salami. Abolade.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good evening and welcome to the business news segment. Value-added tax, VAT charges on transactions in the capital market, which has been reintroduced by regulatory bodies, will not have any negative impact on investors on the capital market. Market analyst Marcelo Keke, in an exclusive interview with NTS Business News, said value-added tax will be levied on commissions paid to various regulatory agencies in the capital market after the conclusion of the ongoing engagement with the federal government on the issue.
The act that will emanate from the overall review of the tax system comes into play. We will now know exactly what the position in the capital market will be. So meaning that the reintroduction of VAT collection on transactions in the capital market can be seen as an interim measure. It won't be any disincentive in the capital market. On the other hand, since it will bring in some more money into the coffers of the federal government, and you know that VAT at the end of the day is shared by the 3 tiers of government, so it means more money that is coming to the coffers of the government, and so it is something good in that regard.
VAT charges on transactions in the capital market was suspended in 2014 by the former Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. And still talking activities on the capital market, Friday's trading ended in red, depreciating by 0.26%. Here are the details.
Trading day of the week saw the market retaining its bearish outlook, depreciating by 0.26% to close the all-share index at 27,918.59 basis points. Volume of shares traded was 130 million, valued at 2.64 billion naira, which exchanged hands in 2,749 deals, with a market capitalization of 13.6 trillion naira. MTN Nigeria, Fort Oil, and O&O finished the week in the green, while on the flip side, Saplat, Okomo Oil, and International Breweries declined in figures. On sectoral performance, most sectors finished in the red line as NSE Banking, Consumer Goods, NSE Industrial, and Oil and Gas depreciated by 0.67%, 0.50%, 1.35%, and 2.92%, while NSE Insurance closed in green, appreciating by 0.04%.
And that does it on business news. Jumai will be back with the rest of the news after this commercial break. Please don't go away.
Are you aware that your perfect family may be under threat by germs? Germs can cause infectious diseases like diarrhea, typhoid, and flu. These infectious diseases are amongst the biggest killers of adults and children. In Nigeria, tens of thousands of children under the age of 5 have died due to diarrhea caused by germs, which could easily have been prevented. These illness-causing germs are everywhere. Dirty surfaces, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes, in unclean bathing water. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's 1 capful. For surface cleaning, for first aid, for your laundry, in your bathing water, and to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol Sure.
From our wonderful family, meet Patty for celebrating the high points of life with friends. And then there's me, Jolly, bringing nourishment to every gathering.
Pack
packed with healthy nutrition, nourishing vitamins, power of protein, strength of calcium, revitalizing energy. Hollandia yogurt is bursting with goodness inside and out. Hollandia yogurt, it's all good.
Hollandia. We want to buy Indomie noodles. 4 packs, please.
Yo.
This is not my Indomie. Please, sir, if it's not Indomie, don't call it Indomie.
Sir, the taste is the difference. The difference is in the taste. That's why my brothers, my mommy, my daddy, and I all enjoy our delicious, so very delicious Indomie noodles. The difference is the taste.
Taste is the difference.
Yes, difference is in the taste. Nothing tastes like my Indomie.
Indomie Super Pack, now available at 85 Naira. Indomie noodles, tasty nutrition, good for...
To the outer framers, the hat tippers, the turtleneckers, the fringe growers, you don't need to hide anymore. Try Dettol Even Tone. It cleans and helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes caused by oil, dirt, and germs, giving your skin a healthy feel for an even better you. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Activate your life, be who you want to be. Yeah, yeah. Time to get active. Yes, the time is now. Now, now, now. Come on, get active. Oh, yeah. Yes, you can do it if you try.
Start an active life with the power of vegetables and fruits. Chivita Active. Be active. Do more.
I thought leaving the country was the best decision for me and my future.
I left for a better life.
We were picked up by immigration officials and sent to a detention camp.
I spent 8 months in the detention camp.
There was no food, no water.
I saw people being beaten like animals.
Some women were raped. Some women were sold as slaves.
I thought I would never see my loved ones again.
I have made the biggest mistake of my life.
I have wasted all my savings.
I have to start all over again.
Migration is a human phenomenon which cannot be stopped. But if we choose to migrate, we advocate that it should be done in a safe, orderly, regular, and dignified way, and not in a dangerous and tortuous manner.
This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons.
You are watching NTA Network News live in Abuja. Welcome back. The federal government says it is willing to partner with the African Export-Import Bank towards the implementation of its $1 billion investment promotion program aimed at expanding trade and investment between Nigeria and the rest of Africa. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, while receiving President of the bank, Professor Benedict Oroma, in Abuja, said focal areas of the investment promotion program will include job and wealth creation for Nigerians' teeming population.
It is expected that we'll be able to make sure that a lot of value-added trade and export appropriate a lot of benefit to companies and organizations that want to participate in that. And I think having Professor Benedict Oroma at the helms of affairs as of now would help tremendously in driving development in Africa, particularly in the area of import and export trade.
The guidelines have been completed, and we expect that the program will now become effective in the coming weeks.
Still on entrepreneurship, young entrepreneurs in Africa have been urged to see the recently signed Afrozict agreement as an opportunity to launch their products and services on the global market. This is part of the Speaker's submissions at the ongoing 5th edition of Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Forum holding in Abuja. Benny Adams reports.
The National Bureau of Statistics Third Quarters Report of 2018 estimates that
less than 40% of Nigeria's nearly 200 million people are fully employed. A situation speakers at the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Forum say cuts across Africa and advocate innovative entrepreneurship as way out. They say signing of Africa's Free Export Area Agreement is timely.
But with this new agreement, the Nigerian entrepreneur is playing in the African space, and so whereby he was advertising to 180 million customers, now he has access to nearly 1 billion African customers. He has access to, form partnerships with other entrepreneurs like him in South Africa, in North Africa, and other West African countries. It's taking businesses global.
It's a whole new market, the biggest in the world now, after the WTO.
Mario Ige, a software developer, is among the more than 3,000 entrepreneurs benefiting from the Tony Elumelu Foundation's training and mentorship program.
So my plan is to target Nigerian, open other branches in Africa countries, then scale up before I go global.
The forum presents African entrepreneurs opportunity to network with their counterparts across the 54 African countries. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
The federal government has generated 35 billion naira in 2019 through Greenbound to fund projects with green credentials to mitigate climate change. Already, Interministerial Committee is meeting in Abuja to perfect arrangements for project selection and disbursement. Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, and the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Environment, Ibukun Odushote, were emphatic on the need to be prudent in the process.
In identifying projects for each issuance, we expand our sector coverage and improve our understanding of the climate elements of the initiatives we are proposing through our capital budget. Through that, you will not only extract the emissions reduction components and the economic benefits amongst many other development targets.
As investors who will give us the money for the green bond, okay, they were asking us questions. The one you issued in the first one, where's the report? Where are you supposed to have produced ABC report? So utilization of the first one was extremely slow. And let me add where concerns us as a DMO and as a country. When we've raised money, we've borrowed, right, from the market. The money is not free. The federal government pays interest.
A document chronicling Nigeria's efforts in the implementation under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change was presented. Immigration Command just commences e-registration of foreign nationals. Felicia is standing by in Jos with details. Hello, Felicia.
Jumai, welcome to Jos. The Plateau State Command of the Nigeria Immigration Service has commenced e-registration of non-Nigerians, including ECOWAS nationals in the state. Controller of Immigration, Abdul Aliu, made this known to newsmen at the Immigration Office in Jos. Correspondent Comfort Bianteng reports that the controller said the registration will assist in monitoring activities and population of non-Nigerians residing in the state. Rising cross-border immigration violations and the need for control of entry and monitoring of migrants and transnational crimes has prompted the Nigerian Immigration Service to introduce an intensive three-way migrant control in the country. To this end, the Plateau State Command of the Immigration Service has keyed into the program, with the first phase being the point of entry control.
Right now, we are building a technology building at the service headquarters. And the essence of it is going to be a central database for all the security agencies in the country, so that the security will become at the tip of our fingertips. If the DSS is looking for somebody, they don't need to go and stay at the airport to get that person.
The controller noted that the effectiveness of the e-registration will largely reduce the challenge of insecurity and other criminalities currently bedeviling the country.
Because we believe, like every other country believe, if you cannot control the migrants in your country, then no matter the kind of security arrangement you will put in your country, we cannot achieve what we're looking for.
The immigration boss called for partnership from religious and traditional leaders, the media, and well-meaning Nigerians to ensure the success of the venture. In Jos, Comfort Bienten, NTA News. Plateau State Ministry of Health has inaugurated an 11-man steering committee of the State Basic Healthcare Provision Fund with the mandate to provide funding for healthcare services in the state. Abdul Wahab Babankanti completes the report.
While inaugurating the steering committee, the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Martins Polycarp, described it as a step toward substantially increasing revenue and improve primary healthcare services through the new National Health Act, which gave birth to the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. The Permanent Secretary further said, in order to provide efficient primary healthcare services, it is necessary for the committee to put strategies in place to ensure accountability among different stakeholders responsible for implementing the program in the state.
The fund is meant to provide funding in the primary care clinics all over the state. It is meant to provide health services, affordable health services, quality health services, to make it accessible and acceptable to all the people in this state.
The committee members are drawn from related government establishments of the state and to be chaired by the Commissioner for Health.
We are going to reap from this very important program and provide good health for the majority of the citizens.
It's a massive progress for us as people, and going forward, Plateau State will be counted as one of the best in the country.
The committee has, amongst other mandates, raise funds and ensure basic healthcare services reach everyone in the state. In Jos, Abdul Hababankanti, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Jos. The news continues shortly with Jumai in Abuja after this commercial break. Welcome back. In September 2015, the United Nations adopted 17 Sustainable Development Goals to bring about global transformation by 2030. Several policies and strategies were initiated in Nigeria to realize this objective. But how well have these fared? This is one of the questions a team of experts monitoring the SDG converged in Abuja to answer. Momso Demiendeti reports.
Kate Emmanuel is a wife and mother of 3 children. All the way from Mararaba, she comes to sell groundnuts in the city center. It is from the proceeds of these sales that she assists her husband to feed the family and meet her most urgent and primary needs.
5 o'clock we wake, go the market and bought it, come back, buy firewood there for fire, cook it. All these things is a strength, but how we go do? Let children survive. Go just manage, just buy, maybe I go to market, I buy mood of rice or half, buy groundnut oil, 50 or 100, something like that. I miss it for them, buy crayfish. I put it.
This lifestyle is what experts describe as living below poverty level. It is for the sake of people like Kate and other women who struggle to keep body and soul together that the O Analytics Research and Development Initiative is appraising Nigeria's scorecard on SDGs 1, Zero Poverty, and 5, Gender Equality, to which Nigeria is a member.
You know, there are 93.7 million Nigerians living in poverty, and 80% are women and living below $2 a day.
We always have great ideas. We always have great people that come up with these policies, but at the end of it, the policies are not fully implemented.
Poverty is in the rural areas, it's in the local governments, it's in the wards of Nigeria. And if you go to that level and you begin to fund it at that level with a clear assessment at each ward level.
To ensure the achievements of the SDG goals by 2030, as agreed, experts pick one of the goals one at a time to evaluate its success every quarter. Momso Damien Ati, NTA News.
The Nigerian Youth Service Corps, NYSC, has condemned the quality of some foreign graduates who present themselves for mobilization. This was at an interactive session between NYSC management and Registrar of Foreign Corps producing institutions from some African countries. Olayinka Ojo has details.
In recent times, the NYSC has been faced with some challenges by foreign universities mobilizing unqualified graduates for the national service. The situation is becoming very alarming.
We realized that they said some of their documents were being rejected. We find out later on they said it is because they came in with fake WAEC.
This interactive session is holding to find lasting solution to the increasing number of unqualified graduates by some African tertiary institutions accused of selling their certificates between 300,000 and 500,000 naira.
This program will provide avenue for scrutiny of issues that are peculiar to the mobilization of foreign trained graduates with a view to sensitize the key players on compliance with later regulations.
Come up with a solution that will not only guarantee the quality of graduates returning to Nigeria at the end of their study abroad, but to also ensure that they are properly guided.
There should be an interaction of the students they admit, when they admit the students, when the students are graduating.
The theme of the session is Strategies for Successful Mobilization of Nigerian Foreign Graduates, the Role of Stakeholders. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Federal government reassures support for Team Nigeria ahead of the 12th African Games in Morocco next month. Ayodeji Makinde has this and more on Sports Update.
Team Nigeria is set to receive improved logistics and welfare as they intensify preparations ahead of the African Games in Morocco. This formed thrust of discussions during a one-day meeting at the instance of the Ministry of Youth and Sport. Nigeria